If I've learned anything from my life, it's that culture can drive segregation just as much as it can create relationships and lasting bonds. While the differences in traditions and customs of various people can influence their dislike of and discontent for one another, they can also bring groups together with meaningful and lasting bonds. The only thing standing in between these two opposite realities is will. Anyone can either decide to stay in their comfort zone with their own groups or decide to expand their borders and partake in all that life has to offer. I am here to give my side and show how much being culturally, and in this case musically diverse, has shaped and enhanced my life. I always had a natural inclination for music, jumping along to rhythm beats at 2 years old, mouthing words at 4, and all out singing along by 6. I was the youngest kid at my music school to perform at Steinway Hall, and the first in my high school to perform a solo piano concerto with the orchestra. Needless to say, music worked for me. When I was 6 years old, one of my favorite things to do was to turn on the radio and listen to what was playing. KTU was the star child of hit radio back then, and for the first few years of my life, the 100 or so songs I heard incessantly on that station were those I was brainwashed into believing were most popular. With the exception of all the classical music I played as a pianist, I had a notion that those songs were the only ones that existed in the world. Technically, I was always free to roam the wonderful and vast universe of music, but I was unknowingly oblivious to it at the same time. Fortunately, there was a fateful day in 3rd grade when this all changed. My dad and I went to the music section of Walmart and he convinced me to buy this new music album that had just been released. We went back to the car and turned the CD player on. Korn was apparently a very well-known heavy metal band, but their sound was completely new, outrageously unique, and frankly kind of scary to me at the time. Screaming, I thought? Really? This exists? People do this? This is awesome. I like it a lot. All of a sudden, a barrier was broken that led me into the outside world of music. I was hungry for more. My dad then bought me a Napster subscription on which I could search for the music I wanted day in and day out. The band started rolling out. System of Down, Slipknot, As I Lay Dying, All That Remains, Stone Sour, I loved them all. What I never loved, however, but what was becoming popular at the time was hip-hop. And as I became more open-minded about music, I thought I'd give it another chance. The likes of 50 Cent and Eminem really gave my earbuds something to think about. And by the time high school rolled around, heavy metal, rock, and hip-hop were all on my favorites list. I met my best friend because of our constant bickering about whether Eminem was a great rapper or not. It was mostly harmless. Either way, we got to bond a lot, and he ended up introducing me to his culture of music. He was Puerto Rican, and the most important rhythms coming from that country was reggaeton. The suave and sexy beats of Don Omar and Wisin and Yandel captivated me. My friend and I became even better friends with more things to talk about and even more artists to argue about. Through him, I met another one of my high school best friends who one day showed me what would become present-day music's next big thing, EDM. It was in that moment I realized that music tastes were unlimited and that if I kept collecting sounds and learning music cultures, there was no one I wouldn't be able to relate to. I went to concert after concert, meeting people after people. Regular house music was then followed by trap music, which was followed by melodic trap, then moombahton, and most recently deep house. Each brought along its own customs and its own brand of people. It brought me different experiences, incredible memories, and a plethora of ways to look at life. My favorite EDM trio came in the form of Major Lazer, an experimental group that infused electronic sound with the reggae beats of Jamaica. So I decided to dig deeper into their roots and found what inspired these producers. Soca and dancehall became my new obsessions, and the likes of artists like RDX, Mavado, and Conscience started to permeate my playlists. When I got to college, I was in shock at how many people listened to soca and dancehall and immediately made a bunch of friends from many new spectrums of the world. Surprisingly, my new Punjabi and Gujarati friends were among the many that specialized in the Jamaican music scene, and I started hitting it off with them. They then infused Bollywood and Bhangra into my music vocabulary, and since Stony Brook is actually Little India, in came a huge amount of Indian friends that not only taught me about their music, but their Hindi traditions, their types of food, their outrageous dances, their hilarious movies, their fun holidays, and their incredible cultural events. None of my friendships had ever come close to being as magical and important as those I made by this time. So here is my story. Obviously, I can't guarantee that your life will be better by exploring different cultures, and I can't be sure that segregation will end because of it either. But I hope that you can appreciate the way culture has enhanced my life. And if I have even made someone consider being more open-minded to the differences that make us all unique, then my story has been a success. In school, they teach us that culture makes a society. I believe that sharing cultures makes a society better. And shouldn't that be the goal?